Good afternoon. This is Bob Iacchino and Mike Arnold, co-founders of Path Trading Partners, on April 26th afternoon. Path Chat covering the futures markets. Interesting day. We saw stocks kind of end with a whimper and really go nowhere, slightly lower at the end of the day after being up much of the day. Not much, but they were up. We saw the crude oil inventories, the EIA, not really match up with the API numbers that we talked about yesterday, but still come in a little bit surprising. We had a 3.6 million barrel draw in crude oil versus a 1.7 million barrel consensus estimate of a draw. It was down 1 million last week. Gasoline, on the other hand, up 3.4 million barrels versus a consensus of a 1 million barrel draw. There was a 1.5 million barrel build last week. So again, gasoline not necessarily cooperating. The demand does not seem to be there, as I talked about on Bloomberg when I made my Bloomberg appearance, which is on our YouTube channel. We also had a build in distillates, which doesn't affect as much. The majority of the crude oil barrel still does go to gasoline from a perspective of what's going on with the price. Contango back in the markets. Donald Trump's economic advisor and his Treasury Secretary, Gary Cohen and Steve Mnuchin, announced the outline for the tax plan. It was as expected. It was very broad. They were very deep cuts, and there was very little detail. We saw the dollar weaken. We saw yields actually fall on the treasuries. And again, we saw the stock market really do nothing off of that news. So it definitely has to be sifted through a little bit more than that. But in the meantime, let's see what Mike sees on the charts. Mike, it's all yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob. So, little uptick in the VIX today, but nothing substantial. Still closing below 11. Not just doing our daily VIX watch to see if any fear comes back in this market. Let's though switch over to the other main markets we follow. Transports dropped back below the top of our double bottom, our peak of our double bottom. This is nowhere near a stop, and we're not actually trading this one. We're just following it to see what happens as it plays out, to see if it's going to fulfill or not, because they are high probability patterns. If it continues lower tomorrow, watch for support around 91.41, followed by 91.20 are your key levels lower. And then if that's broken, there really isn't much support down until the 90.25 level. On a rally back up, 92.75 area is going to be first resistance. Second resistance then isn't really up until the 93.23 area. And then once we get through there, we're looking for the 9400 area. Over to the industrials. Pushed a little higher earlier, and then fell back down, nearly closing on our 12.5% GAN zone. Tomorrow, what to watch for? If we trade through today's lows, next area of support is 20,975. Then we're looking for the prior defining point of 20,887. And then there's no real support down until we get to the 20,800 level. And then slightly below that, the 20,762 area where we have a rising 8 EMA coming in. On a rally, watch for first resistance around 21,075. Then we're looking for minor resistance around 21,115. And then 21,169, the old highs. Over to the S&P. S&P also tried to rally up. Got close to that level. We're looking at the 23.93 to 94 area, and then reversed lower. On a continued pullback tomorrow, 23.80 is going to be some support. Then we're looking back to the 23.75 area, and then nothing down until 23.63 to 23.64 area. On a rally back up, watch for a retest of today's highs, 23.94.75. And then the 23.97 to 2400 area is going to be very key resistance. Finally, over to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ rallied up approaching our next higher GAN projection level, then pulled back down. On a rally back up tomorrow, 55, 63, 64 is going to be key area. Then through that 55, 85, and then 5600. On a continued pullback, especially below today's lows, watch for 55.22, followed by 5,500, and then nothing to the prior breakout area until 54.80. Switching over to crude. Crude, again, found some support at this 200 and the recent lows. That is a very key area, that 49 level. If it does break through that, next area down, 48.68, 48.70 area, and then once that's broken, we're looking for a potential fall to about 48.14 and then 47.85. On a rally back up, minor resistance 49.54, then about 49.83, then pretty major resistance 50.23, where we have a prior breakdown zone. Slightly above that at 50.38, we have a 50% GAN level, and we have the declining 8 EMA coming in. If we do get a rally through all those levels, you can see it rally pretty quickly to the 50.75 area. Let's take a look at copper. Copper got through the rotation zone, didn't quite get to our trend line yet. On a continued rally tomorrow, major resistance 261.6, and then if that is broken, next level up is 263.60 area. On a pullback, support 258.9, followed by 257.87, and then nothing really down until 255.96. Over to gold. Gold traded off lower and then rebounded back up above our significant level, this 1265.60, very key level here. Came up, tested the 1271.70, 1272 area. On a continued rally tomorrow, minor resistance 1275, then we're looking at about 1278. Then we could see a complete rally to 1284.50 on a lot of strength in gold. If gold falls back tomorrow, 1259 to 1257, very key resistance. And if that is broken, 1254 to 1255, and then 1250 is going to be the next level below that. Finally, silver. Silver did not close higher today like gold. It rallied off its lows. It found some support just below one of our longer term trend lines in here and rallied back up just above this GAN cluster. On a continued rally tomorrow, watch for resistance at 1765, followed by 1774, then 1781. If those levels are broken, we have pretty major resistance 1785 to 1787, and then 1791 is the next level above that. On a pullback or a move down tomorrow, support right around the 1750s, 52 area. Then again, not much. We could see something around the trend line 1742, then a retest of potentially today's low 1736. If that is violated, next GAN level down is 1728. That's all we have for you. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you, Michael. This morning we missed posting the AM FX Path Chat. We had some technical problems. We have posted an afternoon FX Path Chat. There's not much economic content, but Mike goes over all the key things that he was looking at. It just happened to include the daytime data. There was not much economic data to speak of that had any larger impact than the tax plan, so we will leave it at that. Cheers, everyone, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you enjoy what we're doing here. Cheers, everyone.